The manhwa begins in a hotel reception. Our girl, Ajin, who is an intern receptionist, allocates a room to an elderly couple. They're in broad smiles as they thank her. The elderly woman thinks our girl is a lovely young lady. Behind the reception, after the couples have left, a young man, probably the supervisor, tells our girl and her colleague that it's lunchtime. The other young girl is surprised that it's lunchtime already. The man tells her that the new restaurant across the road is really good. The girl tells her that she has been meaning to try it. She turns to our girl and suggests that they go together, offering to buy both their coffees. Our girl immediately rejects the offer, saying that she's okay, that she will grab something by herself. Behind our girl, the other two employees talk about her. The man comments that our girl is so cold. The other girl agrees with him, saying that she has been here for 2 weeks and she has hardly said 10 words to her. She thinks that our girl feels she's too big for them. The man isn't really sure about that. The girl continues, saying that our girl is a total rich girl. That one can tell from the clothes she wears and the way she acts. That's why she has refused to mingle with them. The man comments that she speaks English and Chinese, that he thought she came in as a manager and not an intern. They are of the opinion that our girl would surely get a full-time position for sure. The other girl wonders where our girl goes every lunchtime, suggesting that she is probably going to a somewhere very expensive. Another hotel, maybe. They feel she is a total mystery. Meanwhile, our girl goes to the storage behind the hotel, opens a locker, and picks up a snack from the stack. She begins to eat slowly, tearing away the bad part. Suddenly, her phone rings. She refuses to pick the call. The caller texts her asking for money. Around, one can see her luggage. She's probably living somewhere around the hotel. The scene opens in front of the luxurious Hu Hotel. A sleek, black car pulls up smoothly, stopping right at the entrance. Inside, the male lead, the powerful and enigmatic CEO, sits in silence, his sharp gaze fixed on the building ahead. The night is cool, the city lights reflecting off the car's polished surface. But his personal assistant is too focused on something else to appreciate the view. The assistant, looking slightly nervous, clears his throat and tries one more time to change his boss's mind. He doesn't think attending the company dinner is a good idea. Employees don't want their CEO sitting across from them while they eat. It'll make the whole atmosphere tense, uncomfortable. People will struggle to enjoy themselves if they feel like they're under a microscope. Besides, the male lead just got back from a long business trip. He has to be exhausted. Wouldn't it make more sense to go home, get some rest, and pick things up tomorrow with a fresh mind? But the male lead isn't even listening. His expression doesn't change, and he doesn't acknowledge a single word. Instead, without hesitation, he reaches for the door handle and steps out of the car, his tailored suit crisp and flawless despite the long hours he's endured. He adjusts his cufflinks, his posture as composed as ever, and finally speaks, calm, decisive, unwavering. In his mind, there's no question about it. His employees will be happy to see him there. They'll appreciate his presence, feel valued knowing their CEO took the time to attend. His assistant, standing beside him now, sighs in exasperation. No, they won't. That's exactly the problem. They'll be too on edge to enjoy the evening. But as expected, his words fall on deaf ears. The male lead cuts him off before he can say anything else, his voice firm yet uninterested in further discussion. He's already made up his mind. Besides, he's heard great things about the new intern. Apparently, they have potential. This dinner is the perfect opportunity for him to get to know them. With that, he walks toward the entrance, not sparing another glance at his assistant, who can only shake his head in defeat. The night has barely begun, but something tells him it's going to be a long one. His assistant tells him that he isn't going, that he needs to catch up with the latest episode of a TV show. The male lead tells him that he needs to stop watching those TV shows and start going on dates. His assistant replies that he should stop going on dates and start watching more TV. The male lead tells him that he has decided to stop getting and get married. His assistant is surprised, wondering who he wants to marry. He asks if he is referring to Sarang. The male lead nods in affirmation. He continues, saying that the hotel is doing so well, so his old man keeps nagging him. that he needs to give him what he wants so that he will stop pestering him. He adds that he has dated a lot of women, but no one is as perfect as Sarang, that he has never met anyone like her before. He continues, saying that he has been trying to get closer to her, but there have been no luck so far, and he needs to try harder. He looks at the time. It's been a while. The dinner started. He hopes she is still at the dinner. He decides to walk down there since it's close. He tells his assistant to enjoy his show. As he walks towards the venue, some girls admires him. His assistant looks at him going, he feels the male lead have been used to getting his way with women. But he doesn't know if what he is feeling is love. At the dinner, everyone freezes as they see the male lead coming. As he gets to the door, he begins to remember the advice his assistant gave to him. He wonders if he is really that bad. Everything is now awkward. To ease the tension, he tells them to go ahead, that they shouldn't mind him. He adds that they should order anything and he would pay. This causes an uproar as everyone begins to praise him. As he walks in proper, his eyes catches Sarang. She's sitting with a drink in hand. She smiles at him. He's glad he came after all. He notices that there's an empty seat besides her. Walking closer, he asks if he could join her. Before he could reach the seat, someone comes out from under the table and occupy the seat. He's shocked. He didn't expect that anyone was there. It's our girl. Sarang asks her if she has found her earring. She says yes. The male lead looks on, wondering who she is, where she comes from. He can't believe that he just shrieked. She really scared him. Finally, she looks up and Sarang introduces her to the male lead as the CEO. She stands up and greets him, telling him her name. He answers her in a hurry. He looks at her. So she's the new intern? The one everyone is saying she is beautiful and talented. Well, she is definitely not his type. The party is going on. One can see stacks of bones in front of our girl. One of the male employees comes to their table and asks if she really ate all of that. He's with a drink in hand. He urges the girls to go drink up. She decides to have soju, adding that beer makes her so full. She needs more room to take more food in. The man smiles and offers to pour her a drink. As he does so, he tells her that she has a very beautiful face, that she should smile more, adding that she looks so lovely when she smiles for their guests. He asks her to give him that pretty smile. The male lead who is watching all these is wondering what is wrong with the man. He is obviously drunk. Our girl tells him that if he wants to see her smile, he should visit their hotel as a guest. Everyone is shocked by her response. The man feels embarrassed. He asks her who gave her the audacity to speak to her superior like that. Immediately, Sarang intervenes, offering to pour drink into his empty bottle. Trying to make excuse for our girl, she tells him that our girl is their newest intern, that she is sure she is looking forward to working with him. The man praises her and tells our girl that if she wants to become a full-time employee, she must learn from Sarang. Meanwhile, she is still pouring drink into his already filled cup. He asks her why she is spilling the beer. She quickly apologizes, saying that he should just think of it as overflowing, the same way her respect is for him. He comments that she must have a lot of respect. Meanwhile, the male lead sits quietly, watching Sarang and getting lost in thoughts because of her beauty. He feels she is perfect. After the party, everyone begins to disperse home. The male lead looks around for Sarang. He doesn't want his coming here to be in vain. He sees her and walks to her, offering to take her home. She rejects the offer, saying that she has already called a taxi. He is hurt by her refusal. He wonders why she doesn't find him attractive. He is in Korea's 100 most influential people, and in the top 10 youngest businessmen. He have got looks and talent. He feels he is basically perfect. He wonders why she doesn't like him. He tries to hide his pain as he relates with other employees. Suddenly, our girl walks by, making him scared again. She passes, staggering, trying to find her way. He wonders where she is heading, whether she lives nearby. He notices that she seems so drunk. He wonders if she'll be okay. Well, he decides not to think about it, that it's none of his business. But something strikes him. She is walking to the basement of the hotel, and he wonders why. He wonders why he is still following her quietly behind also. He feels like a stalker. 10 minutes ago, when he started following her, he thought she was living very close. Then he followed her, wanting to know. She entered the parking lot and then the basement. Back to present. He's too curious now to go back. He sees her opening the storage room. He wonders if she forgot something. She turns suddenly towards his direction. She probably thinks someone is there. He immediately hides behind the wall. He wonders why he is hiding in his own hotel. He wonders what she is doing. As she opens the room, he remembers that they don't always use it, so he wonders why she is here. She enters inside and is about to remove her clothes when he shows up at the door. They both stare at each other, speechless. The next day, our girl is seen in the midst of others. She's deep in thoughts. The CEO of their hotel is rich, smart, and very good-looking. All the young ladies thinks he is hot. Our girl looks at him as a playboy. Flashback to what happened yesterday in the storage room. He was sitting right in front of her. She's sitting on the floor. They're both silent. Everything feels awkward. Seeing a scratch on his face, she asks him if his face is okay. He asks her if he looks okay. He wonders what she wants to do about the scratch. Earlier, after he had caught her trying to change up, she immediately flings her shirt on his face. The button on the shirt is what gave him the mark. She never intended to scratch him. She tells him that he has a mark on his face, asking if he would like some ointment. He tells her not to worry. Instead, he asks her what she is doing here. He also asks her what all those stuffs are, pointing around to the boxes in the room. She replies that it's just some things she left here, that she always carries a lot when she is coming to work. He is surprised by that. He asks again to confirm, and she says yes. He looks around, pointing to one thing after the other, till he got to where she had spread her clothes. She quickly rushes and hides it. He asks her if she is living here. She flinches. This is the question she dreaded the most. Continuing, he tells her that she is living in his hotel without even paying rent. He tells her to get out. She turns and offers him $30, saying she can pay that to live here. He asks her if she means daily. She says no, that it's for a month. She tells him that there's no air conditioner, bathroom, or window in here. Plus, it smells like mold. She feels $30 a month is a fair price. She reminds him that he's going to make profit with that. And he is making that money without even having to do anything. He tells her not to put it like that. He's still adamant, telling her to get out, adding that she doesn't need her money. He tells her that if anything happens to her down here, he would be held liable, and it's not worth the risk for just $30 a month. She's still trying to make a bargain. She offers to organize all the storage rooms and work overtime on the night shift. He's still adamant. She tells him that she has a long story but won't bore him with it. She only wants to stay here for 3 months. He still doesn't want her there. She's tired. She has explored all the options. Finally, she tells him that she has a very able body. He looks at her, asking her what she means by that. He asks her if she takes him for a pervert, that he doesn't want to hear it. She tells him that what she means is that she is really strong and she can lift heavy boxes and do manual labor. She's embarrassed that he's thinking she meant something else. He still tells her to leave. Suddenly, her phone rings. She excuses him and picks the call. It's Sarang. They speak for a while. She's asking about her scarf that she forgot at the restaurant. After the call, he leans to her if she is friends with Sarang. She says yes, it's that they went to the same high school. He asks again if they both attended a lot of classes together. She says yes. He presumes that they were close friends then. She says no, that they weren't that close in school. He asks her if she was nice in school too, adding that she was super popular from the way he sees things. Our girl looks at him. She's beginning to understand what is going on. She tells him that she can help him. He asks her what she means. She tells him that she can help him with his crush, adding that she knows he likes Sarang, so if he lets her live here for 3 months, she will help him get her. Back to present. The male lead is seen on his room, dressing up for the day. A mark is on his body. He recalls how he got it. Sarang was there. His mind flashes back to what our girl offered. He had asked her yesterday how she will help him with Sarang. She had replied that she will work it out over the weekend. She was very determined. He had looked at her. She doesn't even know what she would do yet. Back to present. He thinks she was just trying to talk her way out of having to leave. But he doesn't have anything to lose. He pushes his hair back and begins to walk out. He feels there's no harm in hearing her out. In his office, he welcomes her and is trying to listen to what she has to say. She gives him some tips in printed form art. They contain things women like in men. As he reads the first pages, he throws it away saying it's useless. He tells her that he already possesses those qualities. He feels it's a waste of time. He thinks there's no woman in the world that he can't seduce. This pose irritates our girl. Pointing at the paperwork, he asks her if that's all her plan. She says yes. He tells her that he won't agree to the deal. She can't believe her ears. He tells her that he had higher expectations since she was Sarang's friend. That he thought she could give him more useful insights into what type of guy she likes or her hobbies, but he feels that she was just trying to buy some time. Our girl is angry. He looks at his watch, telling her that what she did has been no help at all, that he had a feeling that she would waste his time. He orders her to get out of his office. She stands up, asking if he really means that she hasn't help at all. She takes the flower vase, trying to get the water underneath. He looks at her, wondering what she is doing. He asks her if she is going to throw the water at him. As she turns the water into her hand, he reminds her that he is her boss. He wants to talk things out. She quickly reaches for his head with the water in hands. He asks her what she's doing, trying to wiggle free. She begins to scatter his hair, saying that Sarang hates guys with the kind of hairstyle he keeps. He tells her that doesn't need her advice. She still continues, telling him that she feels he needs to change his hairstyle a bit. She is not bulging, saying it's too late for that now. She promises to make it look good. He doesn't want that. With force, he pushes her off him to the chair, adding that he doesn't need her help. He's facing her directly. She tells him that he had said earlier that she was no help at all, so she is trying to be helpful. He asks her if ruining his hair is helpful. She says yes, that she won't let him kick her out of the hotel. As he holds her down, he wonders how she is so strong. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door and Sarang walks in. She wants his signature on a document. He meets them in that position and is surprised. The male lead tries to explain. 1 year ago, the male lead and his assistant are spying on Hotel Sun, a rival hotel. They are walking in a lonely aisle. His assistant comments that he thought the hotel was meant to be a modern, luxurious hotel, that they put a lot of money into it, but it is not very organized. The male lead replies that it seems like their board of directors doesn't know a thing about the hotel industry. He adds that he shouldn't have worried, that there is no way they would beat them. His assistant replies that he thought he couldn't sleep last night because nervous. He noticed this because they stayed in the same room. He says no. Suddenly he hears a child crying, shouting for his mom. Soon the child is seen in his body. A young lady stands there too. She is Sarang. The child keeps on crying more loudly. She looks at him inquisitively. Immediately, he feels the need to explain himself. He tells her that he is not a kidnapper, that he thinks the child's parents left the room while he was asleep. And he probably got scared when he woke up. Continuing, he tells her that the child didn't know his room number, so he asked his assistant to get some help. He adds that he isn't a bad person, trying hard to convince her. She just smiles and tells him that he doesn't need to explain, that if he was a bad person, he wouldn't be holding a child so carefully. The male lead blushes at this statement. She pats the child's head, assuring him that his parents would be back soon. She looks at the male lead and tells him that everything is okay. The male lead looks at her. He have always wanted someone to tell him that. That was the moment he knew she was his one and only true love. Back to present. He wonders how all these can be happening right in front of her. He feels he is screwed. They all stay there silent. It feels so awkward. Our girl just want to get out of there immediately. The male lead looks at Sarang. He is lost for words. He got her to stay, but he doesn't know how to explain what just happened. He needs to come up with an explanation quickly. His mind flashes back to when he was above Lafayette's. Our girl on the chair, the position Sarang met them. He wonders how he is going to explain that. No matter how one looks at it, it was crazy. He can't tell her that he was trying to seduce our girl. He looks at our girl angrily. He feels it is all her fault. Our girl sees him, Land wonders why he is looking at her like that. She wonders if he is asking for her help. She decides to help. She stands up and walks towards them, calling sarong. The male lead looks at her, wondering what she is up to now. He is still in shock with the incident that just happened concerning his hair. He wonders if she wants to do something weird again. He becomes scared. Our girl reaches the door and tells her that they just had a minor disagreement that should have explained, but it is a private matter. She assures her that it wasn't what it looked like. She adds that the male lead is very stubborn, so things got a bit physical. He is surprised to hear that. She asks him if she is lying. Finally, Sarang speaks. She comments that she didn't realize that the both of them were close enough to talk about such private matters. They weren't close, but they didn't know how to explain it. He doesn't want to tell her that he stalked our girl. It won't be a good for his image. But if he tells her that they are close, she would probably want to know how they met, where they met, and how they became friends. It will be lies upon lies. He decides to just tell her the truth. It will make him look like a pathetic stalker, but he needs to tell her truth. As he tries to explain, our girl immediately interjects, telling her that he is like a brother, that they are so close, and he is like an older brother to her. This shocks him, leaving him speechless. Our girl continues, trying to make him accept that their families are very close. Finally, he accepts that, telling her that their families are very close. He feels it's better than being a stalker. He continues, telling her that he had a minor disagreement with our girl. Sarang looks at them. Her face still gives her away. She seems pained. The male lead notices it. She decides to leave immediately. The male lead assures her that he would look into the report. As she locks the door behind her, memories of a few moments flashes back to her. She had seen when someone came to call our girl, saying the male lead is looking for her. She had also heard others gossiping about our girl. One had said that she might be related to the male lead. That is why he is looking for her. They feel she is super rich, so they should get on her good side. Back to present. Those words comes back to her. Maybe he is really her older brother. Inside the office, the male lead stands looking at the door, not knowing what to do. Our girl tries to explain. She tells him that she didn't mean for that to happen, that she knows everything got out of hand. She begs him not to fire her or ask her to leave. She continues saying that she shouldn't have said they were friends. So there was no other way she could explain the situation other than saying they were related. He is still quiet. She urges him to say something. He tells her that he thinks Sarang is jealous. Our girl is surprised. He tells her that he needs her to do him a favor. If she does it, then she can stay in the hotel as long as she likes. Jealousy is what you feel when the person you love is in love with somebody else. So someone can only be jealous if they are actually interested in the other person. The male lead remembers what transpired one day in a restaurant. A couple were having a good time. The husband shows the wife a picture in his phone. Suddenly, a message pops with the sender's name saved as my love. The wife became agitated. She asks him if the person is that coworker of his or is his first love. The man begins to laugh loudly that tears began to drop from his eyes. She wonders what is funny. He tells her that it's his mother. Knowing the truth now, she admits that it's a pretty name. The man asks her if she was jealous, adding that it's cute. She refuses to admit that she was jealous, but he doesn't believe her, saying that she looked pretty annoyed earlier. A bit of jealousy can make someone aware of their true feelings. The male lead can assert that she was definitely jealous, which means she must be interested in him. He is sure of it. Our girl is seen sitting in a restaurant. She is with the male lead. She looks around. Two persons are chattering happily. She wonders how she got herself into this. They left Seoul. They drove an hour just to come here. She tells him that this place is in the middle of nowhere. He replies that he wanted some privacy and to grab some food too. Adding that he heard this place is good, he tells her that if they eat near the hotel, they could bump into someone they know, that there is no such thing as privacy in Seoul. She agrees with him. The place is empty, except for those two persons. While eating, she asks him if he has heard the rumors. He asks her what she is talking about, asking if people are spreading rumors about him. She replies that he surely knows. He immediately tells her that he doesn't have any idea what she is talking about. Shouting, she tells him that people say he is a playboy. It was so loud that those persons could hear her. He tells her that it is not true at all, that he is not a playboy. He wonders if Sarang have heard those rumors. She asks him if he is sure that the story is pretty famous. He asks her what story she is talking about. That story happened a while ago. A young lady had come to look for him at the hotel. The receptionist had told her that he has gone a business trip and she will also need to make an appointment to see him. The young lady refuses to accept that he is not around. She feels he is just trying to avoid her. She demands that she wants to see him now. The receptionist advises her not do anything that would make her call the security. The young lady flares up, asking if the receptionist know who she is. The receptionist tells her that it doesn't matter who she is, but she doesn't have the right to abuse a staff. Adding that she will be happy to contact her immediately, the male lead comes back. The young lady screams that she is pregnant with his child. Back to present, our girl tells him that she heard it was like a scene out of a K-drama. The male lead tells her that the girl was a liar, that she just wanted to see him. That was 3 years ago, yet people are still talking about it. He asks her, does she have any idea how much trouble that caused him? Just thinking about it alone isn't good for him. She looks at him, not feeling sorry for him. She feels he brought it upon himself. He sees her looking at him and tells her to stop, asking her why she is looking at him like he is pathetic. She quickly tells him that she wasn't looking at him that way. He doesn't agree, saying that it looked like what he thought. From her face, he feels that she was still thinking that he is playboy. She is an open book. He wants to explain what really happened, but he is interrupted by the waiter, who brings the meals. He decides that he doesn't need to explain himself to her. He notices that she looks very happy when the waiter brought the food. He feels she looks the happiest when she is eating. Normally, she always looks bored. They are both just trying to get what they want out of this arrangement, so that is all he needs to worry about. As they begin to eat the meal proper, he tells her that he thinks Sarang was jealous of them, so he wants her to do something for him, that it just requires a bit of acting. She stops in her track. It becomes a bit awkward. He wonders if she is listening him. He didn't bring her here just to eat. In a few moments, her plate is empty. She cleans her mouth and asks him if he wants her to keep making her jealous. He says yes. He is becoming a bit embarrassed. She tells him that they didn't have to come all the way out here just to talk about this, that he could have just told her in her office, adding that the food was great, though. He tells her that to achieve that, they would need a plan. He is just thinking about his plan to make her jealous. She asks him how he plans on making him jealous. He tries to explain, but she doesn't wait. She screams, drawing the attention of other people. She picks a piece of food and tells him to open his mouth. Everyone is watching. She looks like a robot trying to act. He is utterly disgusted. He asks her what she is doing. He is so embarrassed that he feels he might die from it. She asks him if this isn't what he had in mind when he said that he wants to make his lover jealous, adding that this is how they do it on TV. He sighs, telling her that TV is not the same as real life, so she should try and make it less obvious, adding that they need to be subtle. She doesn't understand that. He tries to explain what he means, saying that it is like when you like someone, you try to send them tiny signals. She quickly nods as if she understands. Meanwhile, she is clueless. He stands up and sits beside her. She asks him why he did that, wondering if he is still mad about his hair. She feels he wants to do a subtle act of revenge. He tells her that he just don't think she knows what he is talking about. He decides to explain. He tells her that when he is talking with Sarang, she should come and stand next to him and grab his arm in a playful way. He tells her that they should try it. She tries grabbing his hand, but it pains him. He quickly wiggles free. He tells her she shouldn't do it so rough. He decides to show her himself. He puts his hand gently on her shoulder. She flinches. He tells her she should do it like that and make it look natural, then hold his arm gently and look into his eyes. He knows he is being childish and cowardly by using someone else to win over the woman she loves. All the while, he is threatening to take away the place where our girl is living. The next morning he meets Sarang at the walkway. He tells her that she must be very busy preparing for the reading night event. She replies yes, that she have been working very hard since it is the first event she have been in charge of. He tells her that he heard that Mr. Piccola a very picky client. Our girl comes slowly behind him. Holding gently, she greets him. He is desperate, but he is sure this would work. Sarang looks at them, surprised. The male lead could see the reaction on her face. He have to find a way to win her heart. Flashback to the previous day, after he had explained to our girl, how she would go about. She tells him that he understands what he meant, that it is a piece of cake for her to grab her hands and act really friendly. She asks him if he wants to make her jealous by acting friendly with another woman. He says no, that she should just act friendly. He tried to explain it to her. He asks her if she had a boyfriend before. He tells her that they have to make Sarang think that they are flirting together. It has to seem romantic. She tells him that she have never done that before. He is surprised. She tells him that she have always been too busy to date. She is 28 years and is single. Meanwhile, the male lead is 31, but have always been in a relationship. He tells her that he have been busy too, that is not an excuse. She tells him that she doesn't really understand what she is talking about. He looks at her, not knowing what to do again. She is the opposite of romantic, and she is also a terrible actor. He wonders how they were going to pull this off. Back to present. He turns and smiles at her, seeing that he is better than what he expected. He feels she performs better under pressure. Our girl is seen giving a fake smile. She is just doing everything in order not to be kicked out of the hotel. The male lead smiles. All he needs to do is to make Sarang jealous. Our girl greets her. She smiles and answers well. The male lead isn't happy anymore. He wonders why she isn't jealous. He turns and stares at our girl. Our girl is wondering why his face is like that. She did exactly what he told her to do. The mission was to act flirty and make her jealous. She smiles and tells him that she haven't seen him. She is interrupted by Sarang, who quickly comes forward and tells him that Mr. Piccolo wants a day tour of Seoul, but she is not sure what type of tour he would like. Raising the book, she asks him to help her look over the options. The male lead agrees to do it. Everything was awkward as he is dragged away from our girl. The male lead is impressed by her performance, saying that it's a good thing that he stole her from Sun Hotel. She smiles and says she's glad to come to their hotel. They both smile at each other. He tells her that he's sure Mr. Piccola would be impressed by whatever she chose. Our girl feels practically invisible. She feels like they have forgotten about her. Sarang is happy about the accolade. He tells her that he was a bit worried because Mr. Piccola is a famous author and he just wanted to please him. He asks her if she has read his newest book. Our girl wonders what she would eat for lunch. She replies that she have read, that she really enjoyed it, that she would really love to read the original one in French. The male lead replies that he's feeling the urge to read it now. He offers to take her out, but she quickly rejects his offer. He feels so bad. She used to be so cold. She tells him to keep the document, that she has another copy. He thanks her, and she smiles. He discovers that she is now warmed up to him. He guesses their plan is working. He's happy. It's a huge success. He turns to our girl and nudges her. She has done a good job. He decides to warp things up. Our girl wonders why he is smiling at her. She wonders if he wants her to do something else. She looks on, wondering what else he wants her to do. Maybe act even friendlier. She immediately turns and begins to fix his tie. He asks if he is happy now. He is shocked. He doesn't understand what she means. She replies that she thought he wanted her to do something else. He thinks about it and feels that it'll work too. Sarang looks on, disappointed. He thought she stopped liking him after that day, but it's obvious she haven't. He notices that she still likes him enough to get jealous. Our girl tells him that there's something on his shirt. She adds that it's handsomeness. The male lead isn't finding this funny. He asks her what she is doing. From his face, she guesses she has made a mistake. He tells her to stop improvising. Meanwhile, Sarang is standing there, looking at them. That was the beginning of their plan to make Sarang feel jealous. He is walking with his assistant. His assistant asks him where he is going to eat lunch today. adding that he is satisfied with anywhere except the cafeteria, adding that he is sick of the food here. The male lead tells him that they would eat at the cafeteria, that he wants to make sure everything is going well. He hopes to see Sarong there. If he wants to win her heart, he needs to make sure he sees her as often as possible. But he keeps running into our girl instead. At the cafeteria, our girl is seen eating a very big portion of food. He sees the food and wonders why she would eat such amount of food. His assistant comments that their rice bowls are way too small. The male leads see our girl staying alone. He wonders if she doesn't have any friend. He wonders where Sarong is. They both take a seat and begin eating, the atmosphere relaxed but filled with quiet conversation. The clinking of utensils, the low hum of chatter, it's just another ordinary meal. Meanwhile, not too far away, our girl is sitting with a book in front of her, seemingly focused on reading. But as they continue their meal, the male lead's eyes casually drift toward her. He watches as she takes a bite, her posture straight, her expression composed. On the surface, she looks elegant, refined even, but something about the way she eats catches his attention. Without much thought, he makes a comment. Her face may be elegant, but her eating habits, not so much. She reminds him of a swan, graceful on the outside, but underneath the water, desperately paddling to stay afloat. His words amuse him, but his gaze lingers on her a little longer. That's when he notices something strange. She's not just eating. She's also carefully putting some food away on a disposable plate. But the way she's doing it is unusual, almost secretive. She's using her book to block the view, subtly sliding portions of food onto the plate as if she doesn't want anyone to see. For a moment, he just watches, unsure if he's actually seeing what he thinks he is. His surprise is evident, but he's not the only one. One by one, people around them begin to take notice. Their conversations slow, their gazes shifting toward her. Shock spreads through the room as more and more people realize what's happening. She's doing this in public, right in front of everyone. But the real question is, why? What is she planning to do with that food? Others are seeing her reading the book. They praised her for being elegant and never wasting her time. The male lead still looks at her, wondering if he should help her. Everyone is seeing her from the perspective of the elegant intern who likes to read. Later that evening, at the close of work, our girl is in the ladies' room taking a shower. After she's done, she begins to dry her hair. Some staffs can see her, but she doesn't mind. In the walkway where the restroom is located, two ladies are talking about her. One of them says that she have seen Hwelyue, our girl taking her bath there a lot of times. The other replies that she has never taken her bath there before. The male lead is walking behind thee, and he can hear what they're saying. They keep on talking about how they saw her bathing there the previous day. Our girl walks past the male lead. He looks at her and wonders if she doesn't care that people would find out. They see her as an intern who cares about her personal hygiene, and she's always smelling good. The male lead and his secretary walks across the walkway. His secretary tells him that he thinks they should remodel the hotel, especially the areas used by the employees. The male lead gives him the go-ahead to do it, warning him not to disturb the guest because of it. His secretary tells him that he was meant to close from work 35 minutes ago. He raises it as something important. The male lead releases him to go home. As the secretary walks away, the male lead asks if he would join him for dinner. He refuses. The male lead bids him goodbye, wondering what is so good about going home. As he walks away, he thinks about Sarong. He haven't seen her all day. He wants to find a way to bump into her. Suddenly, our girl walks past in front of him. He's scared. She quickly bows and walks to the basement door. She disappears behind it. He wonders why he always see her everywhere he goes. He wonders why it can't be Sarong. He wonders why she just strolled into the basement like that. He feels she should be more secretive. At that moment, two employees walks past. They had seen our girl entering the basement. They feel she's going there because she have a lot of work to do there. The other recalls when she was an intern that they always ask her to carry stuffs everywhere, wasting her time. The male lead who's there, listening to them, is wondering what is going on. Why does no one else find it strange? He wonders if he is the only weird one there. While he sees her as a person who is secretly stealing food, others sees her as an elegant intern who doesn't waste her time. While he sees her showering before going to the basement, others see her as a person who keeps personal hygiene. While he sees her going home when she enters the basement, others see her as a diligent intern who is always working hard. Perspective really does change a lot of things. He guessed she is pretty happy living in the hotel. Later that night, she is sleeping in the storage room when she heard footsteps. She becomes alert. 2 employees carried boxes and paces her room to somewhere else. She is relieved. That was close. She thought they would see her. The next morning, the male lead finds our girl arranging a place. He comes behind her to give her something. As he calls her name, she turns with a snack in her mouth. He's surprised. On the table, he can see a mountain of wrappers of leftover snacks. He wonders if she's the one that ate all of that. She turns away and quickly chews the one in her mouth. She turns back and greets him. She keeps a face as if wondering why he is looking at her like that, as if she did something. She looks at his hand, wondering what he wanted to give her. Then he remembers. He drops a key in her hand. He tells her that he has informed management that he wants the space for personal use. It's the key to the storage room. He tries to tell her to make herself comfortable, but he can't bring himself to do that. He had earlier yelled at her to leave the place. It would be kind of weird if he acting so nice about it. She can read the situation. She takes the key from him, thanking him. She tells him that she would make herself at home. He tells her that he will also tell the employees at the cafeteria. She cuts him short by calling his first name. He's surprised. She touches his arm, pretending to be excited, asking him loudly if he would really do that. He's so surprised to talk. He asks her what she thinks she's doing. She whispers to him that his love is here, that is Sarang. He still didn't get it. He turns immediately, only to see Sarang looking at them. She greets him. That is when he realizes what our girl meant. Our girl smiles and tells him that she will take it from here, saying he should think of it as her monthly rent payment. He looks at her. That smile unsettles him. As he looks at her, he remembers the joke she pulled off the last time she smiled that way. He begs her not to make another joke. He becomes so nervous. He doesn't want them to improvise. Loudly, our girl thanks him, calling him his first name. She smiles and winks at him, offering to buy him a coffee as payback for what he did for her. As she talks, she grabs his arm. She can't forget that part. He looks at her. He feels this won't make Sarang jealous. Instead, it will make her mad. Our girl still continues, asking if he wants a super delish coffee. Sarang looks on, speechless. He whispers to our girl to stop, but she refuses, saying they have to continue what they started. He isn't happy. He feels any interest Sarang have in him will definitely go because of this. As they begin to walk away, Sarang asks them if she could follow, adding that she could also drink too. This surprises the male lead. Quickly, he tells her that she could come along. Suddenly his phone rings. As he checks the caller ID, he isn't happy. This is the worst timing. He apologizes and tells them that he needs to get something done. He tells them that they can get coffee another time. She agrees. He walks away, answering the call. Our girl looks at him. She feels she did a great job. She is proud of herself. Sarang calls her and asks if they could talk. They are both sitting in the cafeteria, discussing over a cup of coffee. She tells our girl that she doesn't think she should be so obvious about her relationship with the male lead at work. Our girl looks at her. She feels she is the one is so obvious right now. She is being jealous. She continues advising our girl. She tells her that people will start to talk, that they walk at a hotel, and it is a perfect place for weird rumors to spread like wildfire. She continues, saying that she is not trying to say she did anything wrong, but others might not see it the same way she sees it. Adding that she is still an intern and she doesn't need that kind of attention, that it might stop her from becoming a full-time employee. Our girl looks at her speechless. She feels what Sarang is saying is that she wants her to stay away from the male lead. She guesses she has feelings for her anyway. Our girl sees herself as a shrimp caught between 2 whales. Well, she sees it as less rent for her to pay. She is happy for him. He really seems to like Sarang. Now she just needs to step out of the picture. She didn't think it would be this easy, though. Sarang is still talking. She tells in Prajrel, our girl, that people are even saying that I too old to be an intern. She tells her that she might have started late, but she can still do well, asking if she really wants to become a full-time employee. She continues, telling her that if she don't get offered a position here, she might have trouble finding a job somewhere else, adding that she is just saying all of this as a friend. Our girl is surprised by the last sentence. She replies her that what she is doing might actually help her get a full-time offer. That is being friends with the male lead. Sarang is speechless. She didn't know what else to say. Then she finds her voice. She tells her that she haven't changed a bit, that she is still confident even after her father's business failed. Our girl looks at her. She is upset. She wonders why she keeps crossing the line. Sarang smiles, trying to calm the atmosphere. She tells our girl not to get her wrong, that she just don't want her to suffer from any nasty rumors, that she didn't mean to overstep the mark. Our girl replies that it is okay. She tells her that she doesn't have nothing to worry about as long as she keep doing her job well enough, that the male lead has nothing to do with it. Sarang looks at her. The next day, preparation for the hosting of Mr. Piccola is ongoing. Sarang can be seen in the hall, pacing and answering a call. Something has gone wrong. She tells the person on the other end to do something quickly and let her know as soon as it is done. Our girl and another employee comes to meet her. They ask her if the caller was able to get hold of the guests in room 1305. She says no. Our girl is silent. The other employee asks what other step is there for them to take. Suddenly, the male lead appears from behind. He asks her if something is wrong. She greets him and he nods. He asks again if there is a problem with the event. She tells him that an employee accidentally delivered Mr. Piccola's clothes to the wrong room, and they are unable to reach the guests in that room. He tells her that they should go ahead and order another set of clothes, since the event is starting in an hour. She replies that it is a tailor-made suit that Mr. Piccola personally brought, that he asked her to have it dry cleaned. The other employee adds that he is so particular that he even brings his own bottled water. They don't think he will agree to wearing any other clothes. The male lead is in deep thoughts. This is a tough situation. He wonders what they should do. He asks her which employee made the mistake. She tells him that it was our girl. Earlier that day, the atmosphere is hectic. Employees are rushing around, making sure everything is perfect for the big event. Among them, one employee stands with a suit in her hands, clearly unhappy. She was just given the task of delivering it to Mr. Piccola's room, and she is not thrilled about it. She already has too much to do. There are decorations to check, schedules to finalize, and people to manage. The last thing she wants is to walk all the way to the other building just to drop off a suit. She sighs, contemplating whether she should just leave it somewhere for someone else to deal with. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she spots our girl. Our girl is struggling to reach a box, stretching her arms as she tries to grab it. That gives the employee an idea. Without thinking twice, she calls out to her and tells her to take the suit to room 1305. Our girl stops, turning to look at her with slight confusion. She asks if she heard that correctly. Room 1305? The employee, impatient and already moving on to another task, waves her off with a quick yes. Grumbling under her breath, the employee watches as on in hand. Our girl takes the suit from her hands. She's still annoyed. There's way too much work to do, and all she has for help is an intern. It doesn't sit right with her, but at this point, she doesn't have time to care. As our girl starts making her way toward the other building, suit in hand, Sarang happens to spot her from a distance. Her brows furrow slightly. Why is our girl delivering a suit? That doesn't seem like something she should be doing. Sarang watches for a moment, debating whether or not to say something. But in the end, she keeps quiet, simply observing as our girl disappears down the hallway. Something about this feels strange, but right now there are bigger things to focus on. Back to present. She tells the male lead that it is Glai, our girl, that made the mistake, that she delivered it to room 1305 instead of 1405. Immediately, our girl apologizes. She is trying to explain, but Sarang cuts her short, taking the blame all to herself, explaining that the clothes were her responsibility, that Mr. Piccola personally asked her to have them cleaned. She apologizes, adding that our girl is still an intern, so it is understandable that she made a mistake. Immediately, our girl remembers the conversation she had with her the previous day. She also remembers the response she gave to her. Sarang begs the male lead to excuse our girl for the mistake. The male lead isn't happy. He looks at our girl angrily. He tells them that they should just focus on the issue at hand now, that they can talk about that one later. He tells his secretary to purchase a variety of luxury French suits. Immediately, Sarang's phone rings and she excuses herself to pick it. Information has reached her that they have been able to contact the guests in room 1305. She immediately tells them the good news. The male lead is happy. He tells her to apologize for inconveniencing them and also give them a coupon for the buffet or one of their amenities. Our girl offers to go get the suit since she is less busy. The male lead refuses, saying he wants Sarang to personally ensure everything goes according to plan. Giving our girl a side glance, he tells her that a hotel is a lot more than just rooms to stay in, that they need to ensure guests have a perfect experience. He begs her to remember that even small mistakes can completely ruin their precious guests' experiences. She bows and apologizes again to him. Sarang looks at her. She guesses she doesn't need to worry about her after all. It's the interviewing room. Mr. Piccola is being interviewed by a journalist. The male lead and his secretary just arrive and are at the door. The male lead comments that the interview looks almost over. His secretary agrees with him, adding that for someone who is supposed to so picky, he seems fine to them. The male replies that it is the handwork of Sarang, that she arranged everything so carefully, that even when she had her hands full preparing for the event, she arranged a tour for him also. He feels she is amazing. He asks him if he isn't glad that he recruited her. He feels so proud of himself. His secretary replies that it is that he is not being biased at all. The male lead turns and looks at him, asking if he had won a lottery because he is trying so hard to get fired. His secretary replies that he hasn't won one yet, but he would keep trying, adding that he has always wanted to get fired. The male lead is getting pissed off. He makes his fist. He is having a thought of punching him. The secretary is alert. He wonders why the male lead is keeping his fist that way. Behind them, our girl gives an employee the bottled water that Mr. Piccola asked for. The employee tells her that she is late, that the interview is almost over. She apologizes, adding that the water was hard to find. The employee assigns another duty to her. She walks away feeling dejected. The male lead and his secretary just witnessed this. His secretary comments him what would happen if our girl doesn't come to work again tomorrow. He doesn't understand what he means. The secretary continues, saying that our girl might think that she has blown her chance of becoming a full-time employee because she has gotten on his bad side. This is because of the way he glared at her earlier. The male lead asks him why he would think that. The secretary tells him that the look on his face earlier showed that he was angry with her. He continues, saying he kept his face as if she was Kokroa, who will flinch immediately, or as if he saw a ghost. That is he looked at her, that from his face it sent a message to her that she should just go home. The male lead, who wasn't even aware that his face was like, is surprised to hear that. The secretary tells him that he feels bad for her, that he knows her mistake led to a serious problem, but it was just a small blip in retrospect, and the situation made everything look worse. He tells him that those kind of mistakes are common in hotels. If only he hadn't found out. The male replies that the situation in which a mistake is made always matters. That is why new employees always make mistakes. They can't evaluate the situation correctly. The secretary tells him again that his face was pretty scary. He never knew. He turns and sees her putting some things inside a box. He remembers when she promised to help him with sarong. Other past memories of her begin to flash in his mind of her acting strong. Then he remembers her bowing and apologizing to him some hours ago. She felt so weak. He doesn't like her looking that way. As she is about to carry the box away, a voice stops her. She turns and sees Sarang talking with the male lead. He is praising her for a job well done. She is happy and tells him that they just have to take care of Mr. Piccola's tour, hoping that he would like it. He tells her that he is sure Mr. Piccolo would like it. Our girl still looks on. She feels they only have eyes for each other now. She doesn't think they need her anymore. Maybe she can't use this situation to her advantage after all. Maybe she will end up getting crushed like a potato chip. She remembers what the male lead said to her after she made that mistake. She wonders why she feels so embarrassed. The interview wraps up and the journalist exchanges pleasantries before preparing to leave. It's been a long discussion, but just as she's about to step away, something catches her attention, something that stops her in her tracks. Across the hall, the male lead, Sarang, and Mr. Piccolo are deep in conversation, their voices low but not low enough to go unheard. And then it happens. A single sentence, one so unexpected that the journalist's breath catches in her throat. Meanwhile, the male lead himself is just as stunned. He turns to Mr. Piccolo, his sharp eyes narrowing as he processes what he just heard. His mind races for a moment before he leans forward slightly, his voice calm but laced with disbelief. Without hesitation, Mr. Piccolo nods. There's no doubt in his mind. He repeats himself clearly, making sure there's no room for confusion. He wants our girl to be his tour guide. Silence. For a split second, the male lead just sits there, completely still. He blinks, processing the words, wondering if he somehow misheard. Out of all the possibilities, this was the last thing he expected. The air shifts, tension creeping in as he struggles to understand what's happening. Why our girl? What exactly is going on here? If you're eager for the next chapter, drop a comment expressing your interest in a part 2. Don't forget to subscribe and ensure to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Until next time.